Hello there. If you read the title of this video, you know what are we going to talk about. Commander Gentiane from the Girls' Frontline Song of Humanoid or Dolls Song Manhua series and the upcoming anime adaptation. Gentiane was revealed to be the main commander in the anime. It was received with interesting reactions. You may have a good time with meme like this, but it is important to fully know and understand the context since meme is just meme. So that is exactly what we are going to do now. Alright, before moving into the video, you may wonder why I make this video and why now. Well, it's to give the context like I say before, and to make reference points for the future if I decide to talk about this topic again. As for why now, because college got me hard during the time Warner Brothers dropped the trailer, especially when I am a second-year graphic design student and being an Asian. So first of all, we are going to look at the commander in the game, which is the source material. Okay, before we can talk about the character of the commander in the game, I need to answer one question. Is the commander a male or female? Well, the answer is very likely to be a male. Because in the cutscene of Chapter 9 Map 3 Emergency, Kryager referred the commander as a man. And later on, in the Continuum Turbulence major event, the commander stated that, "My motto has always been, treat ladies gently," which might be not a strong evidence but it really makes up for the one before. Beside that, there isn't anything give us more evidences. Sometimes during some skin story cutscenes, player is given the ability to choose the respond based on the gender they prefer like in Type 79 Anniversary Skin Story and M1 Japan Wedding Skin. Now that is just as, for gameplay purpose, as the car chase levels in Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami. And there is the April Fool 2020 post, in which, the commander was referred to as a woman, but come on, that is just as reliable as the Zip 22. But that doesn't mean the commander being female is a problem since we have lot of OC female commanders in the community. There are great though. Now, to talk about the character of the commander as in the game, we need to know the writers since the writing quality is different each time the writing team change. Here is a little history lesson for you if you don't know already. The writing team of GFL, especially the main writer position, has been changed couple of times in the past. The first person held the position is Haimao aka Lowlight. Yeah, your boy who created the AR team and then went to made R Knight, is the first one to responsible for GFL storyline. While this inform is not widely known in N community, this is a common knowledge in CN after a leak at the end of 2019. Anyway, Lowlight wrote his first work for the second closed beta test of Girls' Frontline back in late 2015, which is not relevant here since we are talking about the release storyline. The second closed beta test ended, Lowlight had to rewrite the story. Now with the assist of Jano, he wrote the first 6 chapters of GFL, include Operation Cube and possibly, Arctic Warfare. In 2017, Lowlight left Micah and Jano took over as the main writer. Jano stayed in the position for 2 years, effectively from Chapter 7 to Shattered Connection are all his works, then he left during the big internal drama and the Ferrari in 2019. Since then, Ye Zhang stepped in as the main writer with around 5 other writers, starting from Polarized Light to the current days. Okay, so that is the history lesson of the writing team, and now we can talk about how the commander is present by Lowlight, with the help of Jano, when he was still in the team. Oh, my bad, there is nothing to talk about here. Literally, Lowlight for some reason, didn't let the commander speak, think, or do anything on his own, instead just stand there and be dragged around. So from Chapter 1 to Arctic Warfare, the commander has no character or traits whatsoever, making the commander to be a very blank character at this time. When Jano took over the main writer position, only then the commander started to become a proper character. It wasn't much at first in Chapter 7 when the only time the commander was able to show having personality was when he concerned about AR team. Singularity came, This major event was the turning point of Girls Frontline, that also include our commander. He directly faced danger for the first time ever and so started to get more involved into the storyline. In the next major event, Continuum Turbulence, the commander spoke for the first time, and from here, our commander started to display two main traits that make this character to be liked a lot by the community. It's the maturity and the combat skill. The commander flipped 180, from a blank, next to non-existent character, to a person who think carefully and caring a lot about people and T-dolls. The conversation with Persica before entering Talon, the exchanges between the commander and Javier, and all the stories after Singularity, Jano nailed them all. Things got even better after Yuzhong and the other writers took over the position after Jano left. The commander personality has a very positive reception ever since. Accompanied with that is his combat skill. It made the debut at the end of Continuum Turbulence, where the commander, after being captured for a couple of weeks and just be tortured very recently, the commander was still able to quickly take down 3 of Nitos in the room with a pistol. If you want to think what does it look like, then yes, that is a pretty John Wick moment there. Other times, such as during the Battle of Paldisky submarine base, the commander had to fight alone against a bunch of KCCO soldiers by himself. Although nearly died, but the commander inflicted enough casualties with slick maneuver, bought enough time for Rikyu's party to arrive. And so, we can see that, at first the commander in the game, was a very blank and boring individual, not had anything remarkable. But after the changes in the writing team, starting from Singularity, the commander started to have the Chad-like image that people really love. It's really day and night different when you do the comparison. The Manhua series is being done of by Ling, aka Miharu, thus bring us Gentiane as the replacement for the commander. To be honest, she is meh. I mean, she isn't really bad or isn't really memorable at the moment. She reminds me of Rochelle from Left 4 Dead 2. They might speak, but it doesn't show their character much. She talks and interacts with other people, but most of the time, it's just beeline mission briefing. Other people talk while she's standing there to give side comments. Being scolded for oversleep or just grumbling about works. Someone says the part about oversleep and grumbling about works are jokes about players who play Girls Frontline. Well, I can see what you mean, but constantly doing does not help with the character building. She hardly shows her character, and when she does, it's the time when she worried about AR team in Sector S05, which is exactly at the same point with the in-game commander. At this point, you maybe wonder, ain't Gentiane's character and pre-Singularity in-game commander's character are the same? In some extent, yes, both of them are similar, both pretty blank at this point, but since Gentiane also talked during these Season 1 chapters, it makes Gentiane's doesn't sit right. She also shows to be very competent, which is really weird consider she is a newbie to the job, at least for the in-game commander. He had to do multiple training and followed Kalina Guide at first. But for Gentiane, we first meet her and she is already good. It also doesn't help when in Vol 1 Chapter 11, Gentiane beat other commanders who joined GNK before her during simulation battles just by talking to her never met before T-dolls. Which is not the thing that is not possible, but this makes people feel that the writing of the Manhua favors her. The problem here from what I see is the lack of good backstory and good foundation for Gentiane. The problem which the in-game commander doesn't have due to good writing later on and with the help of those side stories in the cafe. We don't even know anything about Gentiane. We don't know what was her life before, where did she graduate from? Hell, even where she was born is also unclear, which lead to a quite funny situation where people believe she is a French. But then Ling went in and said Gentiane was born in North Africa and her whole family went to Ukraine after World War III broke out. Well, not a bad place to went during World War III, I guess. He also stated that since they are still on concept paper, the background settings are all imaginary before they are implemented. Having a proper backstory will help her a lot. Telling her struggle to become a good commander will make people respect her more. So Gentiane is going to be in the anime. Does that mean she will be like the Manhua counterpart? No. Not now at least. The anime hasn't been out at the time of making this video yet. Ling, according to himself, doesn't involve in the production of the anime, so there is a possibility the anime Gentiane can be good or at least be decent in those season 1 chapters. The staff's work on the anime are pretty wild though. Except for the questionable director, but time will tell. As for Gentiane in the manhwa, since the current chapter, chapter 28 is the time of writing this, is the chapter 7 of the game, so there are still plenty of times and before singularity. Ling can still work this out for Gentiane by fleshing out her character and adding backstory for her to fill some of the time skips in the story. In which he did comment about the latter one, and I quote, "It depends on how much weight her story will take compared to the main storyline. I do hope he will able to make Gentiane likable, since I really like his art style, looks very good and appealing, and the fact that he takes time to design a lot of unique little stuff for the manhwa. Which is not necessary for the plot when he could just use generic designs for some of the stuff, but he does it anyway, it add into the world building, it's the one reason that keep me coming back." For the reason that N fanbase is critical about the anime and the manhwa, Japan likes it though, not so clear about the others but seem like they are fine with them. I have the feeling, and I quite sure that's largely due to the current state of the mainstream and Western entertainment industry. I means, we are out of the golden age for a very long time, and now, you don't even have to deep dive to see a bunch of craps that are in the market. They literally flooding on the surface with bad writing, illogical, family-friendly, safe storyline that treat the audiences like children, with the producers and writers who think they're always right. So will the anime be good or bad? Personally, I cannot 100% tell, but since we have to pass the first 6 chapters first, and those chapters are literally the lowest point of GFL story, it could be rough at first and be better later on. To be honest though, I don't even know how far will we go, since GFL has a very long story and many key points that cannot be cut out. For the series to continue to be animated, it has to have massive success and gain enough viewership. For example, JoJo, a long-running series with the source material, is still being working on, and the anime of Part 6, or Season 6 if you want to call that for some reasons, is going to be lived soon. All of these are possible due to its massive success within Japan and also overseas market. For example, of the unfortunate side, the manga is still ongoing, although it has been more than a year ago since the latest issue, while the anime ended with 10 episodes and yada yada, you get what I means. I don't do doom spotting or black pilled or whatever you want to call it, but I just wish the anime will generate interest on the IP, and that is enough for me. It can be flop, but even if that happen, we still have the manhwa and the game to come back for. I also think that people need to chill out a bit and let creative freedom flood for some. I understand that people like the main storyline of GFL, but we still need something different to make thing fresh, or we will end up like the way of the house husband anime. To summarize, Gentiane has flaws, she lacks of defined characteristics, lacks good backstory and foundation. But she isn't hard to fix, Ling just need to put time into it, assuming she will survive the event of singularity and continuum turbulence. He can be creative how he want, but he still need to done thing right by good writing and stay true to the source material.